Alright. So, it is Thursday. I can't do it. Look, I'm sorry about the mic situation, because it's, just it is what it is. It's really fucking hot here. So, I need to have this fan, and, yeah. And then my other mic, which was doing really good, it kind of just stopped working. So I think I need to do something about that, but I haven't gotten around to it. So I'm sorry about that. Sorry about the white noise. This week we're doing track review. So let me just grab some tracks. What's everybody up to today? Tell me about your life in the chat, and I will comment on it. I'll tell you what I think of what's happening in your life. Fucking fan's gonna break. Okay, we got a new one from Odd Logic. Alright. We've got what is hopefully the most recent from BFNK. Unless I missed something. Okay. What else we got? We have got Sunk. It's got a new one. Okay. Okay, let's download that. Remember to tell me about your life in the chat. And I'll give you my thoughts about your life. Okay, so we got those three. Any more? Okay, I think that might be it. Oh, there's some stuff from last time. If we did it all. Okay, if anybody's here from last time. Also, you can still send your tracks. Hey! Wait, smoked for 2 months, stopped, now hunger is done. Okay. Congratulations on quitting smoking. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Oh, and losing weight. That's great. Yeah. Or no, I shouldn't say that. It's not one of the hardest things. It was a Simpsons quote. Just don't listen to me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Oh, weed. Okay. Yeah, cool. But that's good too. I mean, good. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, good for you. That's good. He said he's okay. Odd Logic says it's the 4th of July and I'm chilling hard and planning on eating an ice cream float later. That's tight. That's fucking tight. I cannot put a de-esser on the mic channel, so sorry about that. Okay, let's look at the tracks we've got. We've got Colonel from Odd Logic. We've got Stricture from BFNK. And then we've got Weaving Ritual from Sunk. Into this ice cream float talk. Tell me more. Tell us more, Odd Logic, about your ice cream float plans. I went to a nearby store and purchased some vanilla ice cream, and I intend to submerge it in a glass of ice-cold Coca-Cola later. Yeah. Maybe I might send you the tune as well. Oh no, have you heard it said she was going to... I thought I saw it somewhere. I don't see it in my mailbox. we also have one from Nick Chavez. Okay. Oh, Man from Soul, sorry. Yeah, shit, I don't see the one from Heavy Hearted. So she has an update, it's getting sicker, it's gonna get censored. Okay, cool. I'll check back there momentarily. That's a good ice cream float talk going on, debating the ins and outs. Okay, so let's listen to the first song. I'm gonna mute my mic while we do it because this mic sucks. This is the first one by Odd Logic. Odd Logic really knocked it out of the park last time, so let's hope he can give us a double or nothing this time. No, ice cream float talk is very welcome. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I don't think it's mono. I remember there being some control for that somewhere, but who knows? You know what? I don't know. I don't think it's mono, but it's really no way to be sure at this point. Okay, cool. Good. That's good. Okay, so I really like this track. I think it really it's a lot of really cool stuff. One, the mix is fucking huge. Like way bigger than what's going on there. Well, whatever. Your mixes have always been good, but like this one, the mix like stands out to me. That it's really big. Like there's so much room for the kicks. There's so much room for that bass. Everything has this like a really nice place for it. I think that was really a smash hit. And the way that the bass is mixed when it comes in. Don't we get it here? Is it here? No, where is it? It's like a really cool bass sound. Yeah, there's a lot of cool sounds in there too. There's this kind of like those things that almost sound like a vocoder on a drum sound. Almost like spectrally type stuff. Really like that. I think it's really cool. Vibe-wise, I think it's good. Is there anything I could say that isn't just praise for this? I mean, I think it would be interesting to have a part, or the resampled version just because. Oh, crazy. That's it. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah, shout out to the Glitch with Friends sample pack, which is somewhere. Oh wait, no, there's a website for it. Somebody post the website in the chat. It's glitch.cool or something, right? You think you could turn down your mic? Okay. Yes. I can. There we go. Yeah, nice. Is this better? Should I talk louder? Should I talk really loud like this? Is that better? Or no? Yeah, sorry about the white noise. I mean, there's really... If I turn this fan off, you'll see I'm gonna sweat like a motherfucker, and then I'll probably pass out like halfway through the next song. So there's really nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry. Oh, okay, cool. Our Logic says, okay, I'm screwed. Our Logic says he's gonna release it with the previous song he submitted called Shirao, or Shirao, like Shiraz maybe, which I think is great. Those are nice. Those are nice two tracks together. Okay, so the one thing I was gonna say though is like it sounds to me like this track is done and it's ready, but if you wanted to do anything to it, like because we're doing track reviews, so I figure I should say at least one thing that isn't just like sick track, bro. It would be cool, in my opinion, if there was like a couple other layers of like. So you know how like most of the melodic stuff in here is kind of made out of these like droney, kind of like wah, sort of paddy kind of things, or the bass. There's like a lot of nice. The tones are really nice. There's like a really good progression. It feels like everything makes sense together and everything. But the one thing, if you wanted to do something different, I think if you added say just for this last build up, there was like a bunch of different instruments that came in, and yeah, they all kind of like made the build up, and they were all like different melodies that just sort of like interlocked and made this cool build up thing. That would be cool. But I mean, it doesn't need that. I think the track sounds really good. I want to listen to the beginning again. I don't personally have a problem with the hey man, hey man from Seoul. It was really good. You really missed out. It was a really good track. Huh. Maybe put some other instruments in that part then. Okay. Or maybe just something. Yeah, maybe that's the answer to this. Like adding some more instruments here could make sense, and a way to build into the second thing, and then you keep this drop nice and clean. Like you just have the instruments build up here. Blah blah blah, yada yada. Everything builds up, yada yada, and then everything cuts out, and you just get your nice clean drop that you have in there. That could be fun. Okay, good. So that was great. Now we're gonna go into BFNK. This is, from what I understand, an update to the one from last time. Yeah, let's take a listen. Yeah, this is a cool one. Well, fuck. That was fucking crazy. Yeah, that was really fucking nice. Wait, hold on. There was one thing that I remember from the previous version, and I feel like didn't happen here. Hold on. One thing that I really, really liked from the previous one. Okay, so the thing that I really... Yeah, no, I mean, I get it, you know, stuff happens, yeah. So, one thing, one thing that you had in the last one that I thought was really, really, really fucking cool, that isn't really in this one. I mean, this is really sick already, but the thing that I really loved about the last one is that you had this, like, you had this thing where there was this huge sound that was like, like it just like kept going through a bunch of the beats, and it had this really good like tension to it. Like it really kept stuff going. I think you kept stuff going in a different... Oh, it's still there? Okay. Whatever. We're going to listen to this one again, because I think everybody probably wants to hear it again. Oh, okay, I see. It was really cool that it was really forward in the mix last time, because it was sort of like this weird, like it just kind of came out of nowhere, and then it was just like for so long. But it really drove the track in a really cool... It really drove the track in a really cool way. Maybe I can try... I don't know if I should like try and sort through the files to see if I have the last one. But, like... Yeah, it gave this cool drive to it. Anyways, whatever. Maybe that's something that you try in another song again or something like that. Yeah, it's like a big wide bass sound. I think it was wide. It's a big bass sound that really pitched around, and it was really like obnoxious, but in a really, really cool way. I didn't really notice it as much in this version. Anyways, whatever. The point is that was really cool. This one doesn't. I don't know. I mean, if it is there, then I didn't really notice it as much. Okay. There was one other thing that I wanted to mention. There's this really cool part here. It's funny to me that... So the thing that I was thinking when I was listening to this part... I think it's... Yeah. It's like that these kick drums are kind of wimpy. Just in this tiny little part. The rest of it sounds perfect. It's all really nice. But this one little part, they sound kind of wimpy, and it made me think, not in a bad way, nothing wrong with wimpy. I mean, it's the chic that a lot of us are going for, so in our personal fashion, myself included. But, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here. The thing I wanted to... Especially, like, this guy... Oh, yeah, here, this guy, too. It's like this tiny kick drum. And I think maybe you could play with that a little bit more. That, like... You know, like, because you took everything out around the 3-minute mark. Okay, we'll jump back to that in a second. So... with these little kick drums, it might be interesting to play with. These are basically sub kicks that have no transient. Okay, so it might be interesting to play with making them even more wimpy, because this part is really cool in that you take everything away. And it's a really bold move, which is part of what I really like about it. And you know, you might have to, if you do try to mess around with this in kind of the way that I'm suggesting, it might take a bit of fiddling around, because like, you know, if you do it too much, maybe it's not as interesting. Okay, cool, nice, we got that. I'll get that in a second. Thanks for sending that through. Okay, yeah, you might have to mess around with it a little bit, like, because you might find that, like, if you make them too wimpy, then it doesn't really feel like enough. But I think you could go even bolder. Like, it might be nice to, I mean, this is really class shit, but you might even be able to get away with, like, a little bit more space in there. Like, imagine if you had, let's go to that part. Okay, so imagine if you just had a bit more time in there. How do I fucking do this? I'm not going to be able to time sync this, but you'll kind of get the idea, I think. So imagine if it was more like this. Or even more time than that. You know, or something like that. And even some sort of nice swell to get us there. Okay, some other things I wanted to point out about this one that I really liked. This thing that happens here, this is so fucking classy. That sound, and then you're just like, yeah. And then you, boom. That's so fucking tight. What else is there? Yeah, okay, and then the last thing that I would say, I think we talked about this last time, and again, all of this stuff is just personal taste, just thoughts that kind of popped into my head. Maybe after the second listen I'll change my mind, or maybe you just don't care about what I say, and you do your own thing. That's valid. That's totally valid. Okay, so, the thing I wanted to say, I think it's here. No, that part's fucking, oh, I love that. Okay, so for this part, when it comes back in, or one of the parts, I think a really obnoxious hi-hat would do a lot of good. Like on every, just for a bit, not forever, but like, you know, a good solid couple bars of just like, or a fucking, not a cowbell, obviously, that's fucking stupid, but you know what I mean? Like something that's just ding, 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 just fucking, just keeps it going, you know? And again, like not a lot, not for a very long time, but just, I think this is kind of what we talked about last time, of like just keeping like locking into a groove a bit more, and you definitely play with that a lot more in this one. And overall, this track, I mean, I think you said you're going to keep working with, yeah, definitely planning to keep working with space. Nice. Yeah, dude, but it's already so nice. I'm really excited to, I mean, if you decided to just stop working on this, I would be happy with that. But I mean, the fact that you're going to keep working on it, I mean, it's really paying off, all the work that you put into it. It's fucking so nice. Okay, so on that note, let's listen to it one more time. Yeah, here we go. That's so good. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if maybe Evac isn't looking at his monitor or something, but I wanted to ask Jeremy. I'd be really curious to hear some more of your thoughts on this track, because yeah, this seems like something. Oh, there. Yeah. Okay, you got me. Yeah, from what I remember from your set, you like, this is like your wheelhouse. Have you got some? Evac's fucking sick, by the way. You should check his stuff out. Shout out to Evac. I'm gonna cue the next track up while he writes back. God damn it. This is great. See, this is what the internet is all about. Just hanging out with friends, having a nice time. Some guy's dog distracts him. It's fantastic. Yeah, shard is a really good name for the type of sounds. It's very shardy. I didn't mean it to be funny like that. I feel like it's like there's like glass shards in there. It's cool. It reminds me a little bit of some of the really early what are they fucking called? I can't remember the name. Let's see if I can bring it up. I won't play it, but because I can't remember the fucking songs, but there it is. Gazelle Twins. There's some really early Gazelle Twins stuff that kind of reminded me of that, but it was like they just, God bless the Gazelle Twins, but especially this song, I don't know if you guys have heard it, but it's really fucking cool. Totally different than what I was talking about, but also really, really nice. But they had some early stuff that was really, it's like, I thought it's not a duo? I didn't know it was a girl. Kind of reminded, that's, fuck! Wait, Flint Kids? Maybe I'm thinking of Flint Kids. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of... Oh, okay. Okay, cool. She was solo when she started, as far as I know. Maybe she still is. Anyways, I think I was talking about Flint Kids. Or maybe I wasn't. Fuck knows. Whatever. Anyways, but yeah. Nice shard stuff. Nice. Yeah, the Discord's good. I wish I was there more often. I'm there. I'm always reading. But, alright, let's just move on. Okay, so, this is a new one from Sunk, which I haven't listened to yet, I don't think, so I'm really excited about this one. Oh, yeah. Didn't Flint Kids also have like an animatronic head or something that they used on stage? That was cool. That was a long time ago. Yeah, whatever. TRDLX. Okay, cool. That's a good... I'm gonna write that down actually. So... similar flint kits. Let's see what's going on with that these days. Okay. Alright, here we go. Everybody ready? Alright, well I don't have enough time to wait for the latency to catch up, so here we go. Okay. Oh, nice, okay. Ooh! Nice. Tight. Thanks, Remy. Sorry for whatever. Okay, here we go. Hold on 1 second, I'm just gonna... 1 second. Amuse yourselves while I'm gone, I'll be right back. Alright. Okay, here we go, here we go. Oops. So, basically, my only feedback for this track, I think, here, there's a couple parts in here where I feel like it might be nice to do something super minimal, kind of like like just take it all away or make it sound really small for a section. I think it'll really, or not a section, but like for a little moment, I think it'll really emphasize how fucking huge everything is. There's that, and then the one thing I would say about the mix, I feel like the mix could use a bit more space, like or no, maybe it's just playing more with that, like use size space in the section to make the hurricane. Yeah, for sure. No, it's not. No, I wouldn't say it's muddy. It's like there's I just feel like, okay, so these chords, like the piano thing. Well, I don't know why I'm thinking it's a piano, but like the chord thing, right? I mean, okay, so you know what I would, oh nice, Spitfire left piano, that's tight. You know what I usually do when I'm struggling with the mix like this? And obviously this is basic shit, so you probably already did this, but like, what I usually do is I'll put a utility on the master and turn the master down. You know, because we're not fucking analog, so we don't care about, you know, whatever. I'm not going to get into that because I'm an asshole about that shit. But I'll just tell you the way that I do it. You can do it however you think is best. I usually just put a utility on the master and then pull it down like 6 dB or something. And then turn my speakers up so it sounds like it's the same volume. Like turn your speakers up 6 dB. And then start trying to, and so then you have like 6 dB of room to sort of play with, to like fill into. So then you can start to try to figure out how you're gonna make those two things, like the chords and the big chunky bass, or the big chunky percussion and bass section sort of fit together. Like I would treat that sort of as a unit. All the percussion and bass, and then maybe all the melodic things at the same time, sort of. So you just have two things that you're trying to mix together. And then, so one thing is just sort of like playing with the levels a bit, playing a little bit with EQ. But one of the things that I do for stuff like this too is like just kind of deciding when to shift emphasis. So like this one's tricky. What you could do is like, okay. It's kind of a weird idea, but one of the things that you could do is like, so you have that big wide bass sound, and I think that works really well, that it's wide and huge. So maybe for that bit, the melodic stuff gets a little bit more centered. Just for that, like, and then slowly the melodic stuff comes out to the sides again, to where it is now. And then when we get another big, then we have the sort of the same thing of like the bass thing being wide and big, and then the melody being a little bit more front and center, and then it comes out again. The other thing that you can play with is EQing, but like, so I would use the, I think there's like an amount. No, I mean, I don't know if you're going to use EQ8, but if you did, there's like the scale thing, right? So say you were to say like, okay, I know that the piano stuff is going to really hit in this section, or if I want it, whatever. I don't know, I'm just picking a section. Then you say like, okay, at the start of this, we're gonna pull everything out. So we'll start with scale 100, and then by the time that bass thing ends, we're back to 0. So there's kind of no effect on it, right? And then we get this like, and maybe the other one at the same time. Like sort of give the stereo field to one element at a time. Yeah. I mean, you know, not throughout. I mean, you can. It's definitely a really interesting thing to play with, like when which things are wide and which things aren't wide. And you can do the same thing with EQ. You can also, depends. You could also maybe do the same thing with volume too. That one's really going to be sort of like, you're going to have to feel it out. You know, though, I think that, like, I'm not offended by this mix by any stretch of the imagination. I think it works, especially on these sections. Like, it's so nice, and you do this thing sometimes to your, I think I noticed it in previous stuff. Like your kicks sound so fucking nice, and there's some really nice little sort of shit in here. Yeah, that stuff is so nice, and it's like just the perfect volume and the perfect place. It's just delightful. Yeah, so the mix on these two sections is perfect in my opinion. I wouldn't change anything at all. Just this bit, I think, a bit of massaging, you know. A little bit here, a little bit there. Make sure, like, I mean, I never recommend to anyone to do really small stuff where you're like, when you A/B it, you're like, it doesn't really make a difference. Generally, what I would recommend is kind of doing it in more broad strokes. That's why I was kind of recommending the stereo field thing, because that'll be pretty apparent, I think. The EQing thing also should be pretty apparent. Yeah, I mean, it might involve a bit of... Okay, yeah, the other thing that could be nice here is just some, like, really selectively, like, you know when we were talking about space and size and stuff? It might be interesting to play with just, like, low-passing some stuff sometimes. It's funny, you know, not all the time, not on everything at the same time, but just every once in a while, I think pulling out some of those highs will make them really shine more at other times. The other thing that I've been playing with more lately, well, semi-lately, is like that kind of shit too. I guess this is sort of basic stuff, but to me, it's like not something that I think about doing that often on my whole like drum bass rack, and sometimes it's just it's like exactly the right thing so that the next bit like hits even harder. So that might be something to try out. Yeah, other than that, it's a real beauty of a track. I like really like it. Yeah, so I think sometimes, I mean, the trick with the really aggressive anything is that if you do it too much, because it's so obvious what you're doing, it really loses its magic really quickly. I find, but if you do it just once in a while, like it's such a sweet thing to do. Okay, so yeah, honestly, fucking really like that a lot. I really like that. I'm excited to. Wait, that's the final mix. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I like it. I love it. I'll take 2. One for the road. Oh, one for the road. Yeah, killer stuff, man. I'm really excited to hear more of what you do. Okay, Fracture Vectors. This one is by... I don't remember who this is by. This is Man from Seoul. Okay. Man from Seoul. It's up next with fracture vectors. Here we go. I have some thoughts about this. Okay, so this one, I guess what you're saying is, yeah, I'm stoked about that. That's sweet. This one you were saying, I guess, is like, you know, it's coming out soon, so maybe not for this track, but okay, this, where you're at right now in this thing, I feel like is the perfect time for my favorite step in making stuff. One thing I wanted to ask, actually I just want to try it. Just want to hear what would happen if we, I know I wouldn't do this on the master, I'd do it just on your drum rack. What if we did something like this? that might bring out a little bit more of your cool sounds that you have in there. Let's quickly oxidizely. Yeah. Yeah. No worries. I mean, like, just for whatever next track that you're working on, when you get it to this stage, if you wanna, you know, whatever. This is like whatever. This is just some thoughts. Right. So with your drum and bass rack, there's some really great stuff happening here, and I feel like this is the perfect time. This is just sort of a side note. The perfect time for like resampling, because you have a bunch of these sounds. I think would sound really good, like reversed, pitched up, fucked with in different ways. So, and the other thing I was gonna say is, like, you have like, so hold on, let's just listen to it. I think it's a great time to like come in and start subbing out some of those hits, like some of those snares, maybe subbing them out for different snares, or affecting the kicks or the bass sounds in different ways. I think you could get a lot out of that. Some of those bass sounds, like reversed, I think would sound really cool. Let's try and isolate. So yeah, so like when you can hear that, this isn't gonna work, but just whatever, bear with me for a sec. I feel like you could get some hella mileage out of doing some shit like this. Yeah, so, but I would say, like, I don't know if you're saying, oh wait, here we go, that was generic, sorry. How do you typically do that? Do you bounce everything out and then start cutting and shit? Yeah, so, yeah, I would bounce the drum rack as one thing, and then what you can do also is, yeah, exactly what Evac is saying. Run a few passes of granulation, pitchy effects, etc. Grab the best bits. Yeah, 100% that. Like, just doing sort of a sound design session with it. Yeah, just like you kind of like throw it into one tool, fuck around with it for a couple minutes, recording the whole time. Then throw it into a different tool, fuck around with it, recording bits for a bit. Another one. You know, so you get a couple minutes on each one of just like trying to fuck around with it, trying to get different sounds. And then the best thing you can do after that is take your output and run it through the chain again. You know, so say you have kind of like Evac mentioned, say you have like a granulator thing, some sort of pitch thing, and some sort of something out. Yeah, honestly, Evac's like taking the words out of my mouth. But so the other thing I would say is, like, say you have like a granulator, a pitchy thing, and some other trick that you like. What I would do is like take the output, run it through the granulator, then run it through the pitchy thing, then run it through the granulator thing, then take the output, run it through the pitchy thing, take the output, run it through your spectral whatever, and then take the output of that and run it through the glitchy thing, and take the output of that, run it through the pitchy thing again. So you do your whole chain twice, and then you can do another thing where you just start at a different, you put your chain in a different order, and then you do the same thing. And if you have, the reason that I said that I think that this is sort of the perfect spot, this particular track, and I think that you could get a lot of samples for a bunch of other tracks out of just this, is like, there's space in your sound, so there's a lot of moments for like an individual sound to occur when you're fucking with it. The sounds are interesting, and there's enough of the same type of stuff going on that like when you're playing through it and then fucking with your granulation thing, you get like multiple tries at the same section. So that's why I think that this is a prime candidate, like the drum and bass track of this track without the melodic stuff is a prime place to start for that iterative sound design thing. And then yeah, like Evac said, you peppering it in, and then the best part again with the iterative thing is go back, export that, do the whole process again, and it'll just get better and better. And the nice thing too about, like, so say you were saying that the whole album is almost ready, the whole EP is almost ready, so maybe that's something that you do with the whole EP, and that'll give you fucking samples for days. Like, make your whole, you can pepper all of those into, your whole next EP. And then if you keep doing the iterative thing, it just, you end up with like a fucking crazy amount of like weird samples that you just keep building and building off of. And so for me, a lot of the time the hardest part is getting it to this point where your thing is at now, where you have, it's like the right amount of space, the right amount of sameness, the right amount of differentness. It really, to me, there's something about this that just like screams like primo sampling, resampling, whatever iterative sound design thing moment. Yeah, so that's really cool. Okay, and what else we got? Yeah, I think just in general, like more moments. Hey, Inner G, is that you, Benjamin? Is that you? Who are you? Reveal yourself. Or not, it's up to you. Philip. Yo, Philip, how you doing? Sweet. Ah, nice to see you, it's been a while. Wicked. Okay, so, nice. That's sweet. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Okay, what am I saying? Yeah, I think the thing to me that stands out about this track is like a bit like, maybe like could have more moments, and then overall it feels more like a vibe track, like you get into a feeling and it kind of stays in that feeling. And I would say it might be interesting to try taking everything away, like even more so than this. Like, this is kind of a nice little breakdown moment. Oh, I guess this is sort of the tail end. Yeah, like, I think you could have a moment where everything goes away for a bit, or you go to a different section, or something. I think that could be really interesting. Or not, it's your thing. Okay, cool. Let me download some more track review stuff. Okay. Okay, so we've got a new track from Heavy Hearted and something from May. Oh, I keep fucking forgetting that. Anyways. Hey. Hey. Nice. Yeah, yeah. Jeremy's a smart guy. I'm really glad that he's here. But yeah, no, I like the tune. I'm excited to see what. I'm excited to hear the whole EP and what happens next. Stay tuned. Okay, so we've got this one. Heavy Hearted is downloading. Heavy Hearted, are you out there? Are you out there? So you click an unplanned export. I hope it's not too loud, especially at the end. Loud is good. I think it'll be good. Size okay. After 320, I also need to work on the outro, which is currently missing. This is the other one. Sorry, this is somebody else. Let's see. Oh, great. Okay, cool. We got another one. Silence. Yes. Yes, I do. Please send MP3. Okay, here we go. Heavy Hearted. Nice. Okay. Alright. Okay, Heavy Hearted with Mrak. Work in progress. For the Glitch with Friends compilation. Please never fucking Heavy Hearted, you're in the clear. But just this once. No more waves. Okay. Alright, here we go. Here we go. No, 192 kilobytes per second. Oh, for the... No, god damn it, shut up. Sorry, I didn't know it was warped. Let me start again. Fuck yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay. I think for the ending, you should go even noisier. What I would say though, overall for the mix wise, I think you could bring down some of the high frequency stuff. I don't know if I do that. No, there's some stuff that I think you can bring down to make it a little bit less harsh. Let me try something. No, that part's good. Here. So, okay, so I think the for stuff like this that's like loud and you want people to crank it even louder, there's like this fine balance I find in this kind of frequency range around here, because that's kind of like where, you know, this somewhere around here is like I think where your ears are kind of most sensitive. So you want it to be loud, but you also don't want it to be louder than the other stuff, because you want the other stuff to also feel loud. So yeah, it's fucking huge though. Okay. Yeah, the very beginning, these guys are pretty aggressive. I mean, they're really cool though. It's like a bold way to start a track. What I would also say, there's some parts here where, I mean, I know this is a work in progress, so, you know, the progress will be made, but okay, so one thing I would say is, like, you know how you have this sort of like boom, and then the other stuff kind of moves out of the way? I think, I don't know how you're doing this, where like this comes in and then the other stuff comes back in a second, but I think you could give it a bit more time, because it feels like it kind of comes back in really quickly here, and I think that makes this kick sound less intense. Not the whole time though. There's a lot of good stuff happening here. Also, I think you could reinforce this snare with something with a bit of a sharper transient. Let's try. Let's just try to get something quickly. Maybe even something like this, to be honest. No, that's not it. Maybe this. Yeah. you know, to give it a little bit more like smash. See you later, Sunk. Yeah, thanks for sending that. That was really cool. Yeah, sweet. Okay, back to Heavy-Hearted. Yeah, I think reinforcing reinforcing the kicks a bit to give them a bit more smash could be good. I feel like you could also get away with something like let's see what I got here. So you could also get away with something like this. You know, it's like it'll give it a little bit more of like a lift into that snare, which will make the snare sound more intense, or kick, so this kick sounds more intense. You know, you get a little bit more. That's nice. Yeah, just playing with the pitch, you can get different sort of feelings. I do this shit a lot. It really helps. It's just a little tiny trick, but I think it makes a big difference. It depends too what part you bring in from the snare. And what kind of snare or hi-hat crash. Yeah. Stank. Yeah, this can help a lot. Okay, there was another thing I wanted to say about the snares. I would be careful with stuff like this, like da 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 da, unless you do it in a little like cheeky way. I mean, yeah, I think maybe you can find a better way to do this, like building into this part. Although, if you wanted to do that, maybe the way to do it, if you were gonna do it, maybe you could do something like this. Fuck, I wish I knew what fucking. Do you remember off the top of your head what speed this is at? This is kind of. You could do something like this. I'm sure you can just do that. Just to make it even more obvious. Yeah, and something else, like, so it's not just the like ta 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 ta. Yeah, that's, yeah, Jeremy's saying, fuck, this dude's like reading my mind today. Yeah, either don't do it or exaggerate the cheeky side of it. You know, you could do something like this too. Maybe get away with something like this. This is really cheeky what I'm about to do, but maybe it'll work. I'll hit something like this. Oh yeah, that gives it a bit of like an old breakcore kind of feel to it. Maybe we can go with that. Yeah, that feels like... Maybe it's too cheeky. I don't know. I have a tendency to go a bit too cheeky. Does not really stand up for me. Yeah. I think one of the things that that would work really well for this part, if you didn't want to go the cheeky route, is doing some sort of melodic or like some sort of tonal build into that part. So I might have something here that could be a decent stand-in. Let me give you an idea of what I'm trying to say. Nope. Almost like a chord thing. Maybe there's something here. That might work. A couple of these type things. Maybe get you there. Let's play around with this a bit and see. Yeah, I mean the mic sucks. Sorry. That's what I got. Something like that, maybe. You know, just to add some sort of a tonal thing to it. And you could layer these even if they're not really, maybe they don't make sense to you. Yeah, maybe this would work. Let's see if this one's kind of just a shot in the dark to go back. Yeah, something like that'll add a lot. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I think like a little bit more tonal stuff would be good. The other thing that I would say is when you get to the can't remember when this starts. Yeah, so what I would do is right, and then just let this fade out for a bit. You could do something like this. Oops. You know, so we get a little bit more fucking contrast. That's the word. I should buy my. Yeah. I got a mic. I'll get one. I'm sorry. It's coming. Next time I'll have a better mic. Space. Yeah, space 2. Yeah. Yeah, just so that because this is a big moment. So when this comes in, you know, you want it to really be like, okay, now this is happening. You know, so let everything go away for a bit before you get there. In general, I think also it might be nice to try to think of these things more in terms of sections. You don't have to. I don't think that this track needs it, but and just sort of put a bit more space between the sections. Okay, cool. So that's that one. That was heavy-hearted. I think we have another couple tracks from people who are actually here, so maybe I'll save Maze for last because he's not here. Let's check out what we got. We got Silent Science. yo. Okay, and we're back. That was a kind of earlier version of what I played at Tipper and Friends. Delete. Okay, so where are we at here? that's it, I think. So the future. Was that you that said that, Phil? Like that posted that? Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Brocco. Thanks, Godlike2143. Oh, you sent me a screenshot. Yeah. That was so cool. That was like a very satisfying moment in my life. Okay, anyways. That's enough to talk about me. Let's talk about you for a while. Okay, so unwarp the shit out of that. Everyone's unwarped. Okay, so now we are going to listen to Silent Science. No, I'm not going to try to track it down, don't worry. Alright, everybody ready? Track review returns after a nice little break. Fuck, it's so fucking hot in here. Okay, here we go. Everybody ready? I don't know why I keep saying that. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, that was really cool. I think my favorite part... Yeah, I like this. Actually, I really like this part too, with the no kick kind of business. You mentioned in the chat that it was sort of like 4 unfinished ones that never really got finished. I think that you can feel that a bit, and the way to combat that is like, it just feels like there needs to be more reason. Like, this part makes sense, and then like, I think there just needs to be more of a reason for us to get here. Actually, maybe that part was okay. And this part I feel like you could glitch it out more. I don't know if that's your style, but yeah, I think you could glitch this part out more. So it feels like it wants to go there. Actually, Sunk's track, I think, is kind of like, it would be kind of a good, like, area to shoot for as far as like the glitchy stuff in this section. And then I feel like that would sort of justify this section entirely, because then it's sort of like becomes its own thing. Honestly though, this jazzy bit at the end, maybe that's just my taste, but I'm not crazy about this stuff. I know that's like Mr. Bill does a lot of that kind of stuff, and it is a popular thing. But then this is the part that it stuck out the most to me. Like, why? Like, what? Like, why do we get there? You know? And maybe the trick with that is like, instead of going quiet again, maybe this should just go like, just build up and then end up here. Like, I think that's part of the thing too, is that there could be more contrast between the sections. Like, they all kind of have a similar vibe, but instead of tying the whole thing together, it makes it feel a bit meandery. And I know that's kind of what you were going. Said it was great. Yeah, Culprit would like that kind of thing for sure. Yeah, that's totally, yeah. I know a lot of people like that kind of stuff, for sure. That's why maybe I'm not the best person to critique this part specifically. But yeah, maybe what I would do is just like build this section a bit more, because it starts in a really interesting place, and I feel like there's lots of room where lots of different places that this section could go. And then if this section got to some sort of moment or reason for this part to come in, then I think that this part would make a lot of sense. Or maybe it just like flows directly into that. Like, maybe you borrow some melody here and put it in, introduce some of those ideas here. I'm not sure if that's what's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on, so it's hard to kind of identify. Maybe something like that, or maybe some of the beats, maybe some of the drum sounds or something start appearing a bit more here before this part happens. Or maybe some sort of callback to this. Also, I feel like the song's really serious, and it's really nice and deep and stuff. And I feel like this one, like, talking sample just kind of takes me a bit out of the mood. Other than that, I think the sound design's fucking... The mix is huge. Like, it's so fucking huge. It's really fucking nice. Like, really, really clear. Everything's super, super clear. Yeah, everything's super clear throughout the whole thing. It's really nice. And I guess that's kind of the one thing that... I mean, I think I do this too much, where I do too much difference. Like in one track, it goes too many fucking places too fast. That's maybe a weak point of mine. And even though this track goes a lot of different places, because there's sort of like the 4 sections that you were talking about, I feel like the reason that it feels meandery and not like a journey is because the sections are kind of similar. The 4 different sections are kind of similar enough that it feels a bit more like a wander than like a journey through a bunch of different stuff. I mean, yeah, I like the track. There's a lot of really like killer moments. This part especially I really like. I kind of would want to hear you glitch this part out more, especially because there's like no kick drum. I feel like there's something really intriguing to me about like that really intense snare and then just like the like chill tones. This part's really beautiful. This part makes sense to me too because it feels a bit like kind of call back to this a bit. Even though it's different, it feels just like it makes that makes sense. And it makes sense. We get here, this makes sense. But yeah, that's it. That's kind of my only feedback. Is like this just feels like it needs a bit more of a reason to be there. And then this part could, I think you could stretch this out maybe, or just get really nitty gritty with the details here. I think a vibe that would work really nicely for that is like these really, like just straight up chopping the master or chopping like the different sections. Like this kind of shit. But in time, that you might be able to get a lot of like mileage out of that. And I think that would really spice that section up. Not that it really needs spice, it's a really good section. Yeah, I mean, it sounds a bit like what you were saying, is that it's almost done, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, I definitely like it. I really like how it is already. I think it sounds really cool. If you have time, I would prioritize this transition, and then second thing would be prioritizing this to be more of a build up or something, or build down, or just more of a reason for this to happen, which I guess is the same thing as making the transition. And then the last thing would be to zoom in on this part and just do some really twitchy edits. You could also mix elements each section in. Yeah, that's a good call. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, lots of time. Nice, that's great. Cool. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I really don't know how to fucking mix the way that you do in this track, so it's really satisfying to listen to. It's the same kind of satisfaction I get to from listening to Mr. Bill's stuff. Culprit as well, obviously. Like those guys you guys all just mix in this like really fucking super precise way, which like isn't necessarily my vibe, but I wish that I knew how to do that. I'm feeling a build down, sort of deconstruction, destruction. Honestly, I feel like one thing that would fucking slay in this particular track is like some fucking distortion, like, and some shit going out of tune. Like, just make it sour, make it ugly. Like the whole thing is so pretty that I think an ugly moment would really, yeah, I'd really do good. Well, no, not necessarily like going hard. Like you could, you could go hard, like make it even, like, so we've got dun, 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 and then maybe it says bam, 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 dun, 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 maybe, or Philip mentioned more of a build down or deconstruction sort of thing, but and like sort of imagining like each element gets kind of more out of tune or more sour, more kind of broken apart. Maybe the kick drums start like they don't really hit as hard, or they start being like weird phased or something. Some shit like that. Yeah, something like that I think would really sell this moment. Cause okay, I'll stop saying the same thing over and over again. Yeah, cool. Anyways, thanks for submitting that. That's really cool. Spectrally fucked. Yeah, great. Yes, now we're talking. Okay, actually, one last thing that I'll mention is, you were here for BFNK, like for Brocco's track. You know the thing I was pointing out with the sort of the pitchy, obnoxious drone thing that I kind of missed from the previous version, and then it turned out that it was in there, but it was quiet, whatever. Anyways, I feel like one of the things that would really make me fall in love with this track is something obnoxious, you know? And I guess that's kind of what I was saying with like the ugliness, or the again, like Jeremy said, sour. Because the whole track is very smooth, so that's why I feel like it would be a really nice thing for things to get ugly. Not the whole thing though. Don't ugly up the whole thing. Like just pick one moment where it's gonna just get fucking ugly. But yeah, okay, cool. So that's that for that one. And now on to... Fuck, I keep forgetting his name. You guys keep switching your name. What's May's music name again? Yeah, send the original. I'm curious to hear it. I mean, we can, if you're down with it, we could even listen to it now. Yeah, I mean, there's a time and a place for pretty stuff. Yeah, cool. Send it over. In the meantime, we'll listen to this one and critique. Can you send me an MP3? I can't play it off of SoundCloud. Yeah, Culprit's great. Death Grips. I don't know if I would, for ugly, I don't know if this track I would suggest like the Death Grips style of ugly. But if you listen to don't tell anyone about that, Brocco. I would say maybe not a Death Grips style of ugly, although that's certainly an option, and I guess that's kind of what I was advocating for with the distortion. But something a bit like, if you listen to The Inheritors, the James Holden album, The Inheritors, that album is fucking ugly, like just disgusting type kind of shit that makes you want to be a serial killer type shit, like fucked up, really just if you're new to the album, I would suggest listening to like starting with Gone Feral instead of starting at the beginning of the album. I find it's a bit disorienting to start at the beginning of the album, or it was for me. I don't know, maybe it's not for you, but I really like that Gone Feral track, so I feel like it kind of starts to get me in the zone, and then the other tracks get weirder and weirder, so it's kind of a nice place to start, and then you loop back to the beginning. Right. Yeah, lots of detuning stuff. Okay, so can anybody help me out? Like, I know there's people from the Discord here, like, what's May's music name? I feel like I should know this. He's told me a bunch of times. It used to be his thing. Alright, here we go. Okay, cool. So that was cool. Okay. The first thing I wanted to say that was really distracting for me was the tones. This happens to me a lot, actually, and the tones feel like they're too much in agreement, and like this, like, where is it? It's like a little bit, there's something a bit cheesy to me about that progression. And then the bass line also. Yeah, there's something about that too. Is like it's a bit too. Do you ever hear that there's this like Miles Davis quote or something? Or there's this story about Miles Davis. Is it Miles Davis? Whatever. Some story about some like jazz guys. One jazz guy asked another jazz guy. Sounds like a bad joke. Anyway, one jazz guy asked another jazz guy, like, how do you get that sound, like that particular sound when you play the piano, that like really jazzy sound, and then he misheard the other guy when he responded, or maybe he didn't, but you're unsure. He's like, just make sure to play all the butter notes, and what he meant was that, like, so say you're playing a chord, like you're playing like the first, the third, and the fifth, then the butter notes are going to be more like the 7th, the 9th, the 11th, the 13th, like, because that's when it starts to get really discordant, because those things start to overlap, and then they're the keys in between, like they're a semitone away from the root, the third, and the fifth, and so it starts to feel a little bit more unstable, and that's a little bit how I feel about these tones here. Like, I think, so the way that I often deal with this, so maybe this might do the trick, is with this guy. I'm gonna have to do this really subtle. Even just like throwing some sort of ambience in there might help a tiny bit. You could do such a thing like this. So we go up an octave and then detune it slightly, and then we just filter it. And so we just take some. Let's do something more interesting. Yeah, here we go. This might be a bit much here. Probably get away with this. That might give it a bit more depth. The thing that I often do actually for that kind of stuff is take a sample from a song. So this one's hard to get away with, but let's just try it. That might work. Let's even let me take this off. Also, I don't really like these snare sounds. Let's turn this up. This one. Boop. What would I recommend instead? I think the thing is, my general feedback for this is that it sounds too clean. And I think like some of you guys were kind of pointing that out in it, that it like sounds like, what was it? The old Prodigy, throwback breaks, and something about Tron also. Which, like, those are all positive, obviously, those are all positive notes. But I think because of all those things, it comes across like a little bit too... Yeah, it's like too happy, for me at least. Just sort of it's the sample. Yeah, there was like, isn't there like see, this is nice. I like this a lot. Yeah, I think like the other thing I kind of take issue with is like there is like this type of drum pattern. Yeah, this one I feel like this one could be uglier throughout, I think. And this type of drum pattern to me it's yeah, like Jeremy was saying, super classic breakbeat sample. I'm not familiar with that particular sample, but to me there was a lot of parts of this track that felt really like breakbeats, but like the type of breakbeats that didn't really age that gracefully. So I think maybe fucking up the sounds a little bit. Like I think if you got rid of that snare and then you had something that was less like that, or if you wanted to take it in a different direction, you could do sort of like yeah, one of these kind of classic, this type of shit, or something a lot more like elaborate, or not elaborate, but like something a lot more like, actually that might be a nice thing, take it more into sort of burial type garage land with the samples, you know, or everyone's doing these distorted, these guys. This might be a nice way to do it. What the fuck am I doing? Let me see if I can fucking do this. Oh, I see what's happening here. Like, even something like this, you know, just fucking do the same shit that I always do it. This is not what I wanted at all. I don't know how to do the thing that I want to do off the top of my head, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Yeah, something a bit different. Something that might be interesting to play with, and I feel like some of what you were doing suggested it, that is like moving the accent around, or any other type of like rhythmic illusion thing. I think would be a really cool way to fuck this up. You could also play with like different, like maybe like syncopating the groove a little bit. I think the other thing too is like, you know, you've got those cool like metal sounds in the background, and I think that those could be way louder. Like, I would maybe distort the kick and this. Well, let's fucking just do that same thing that we did to the other one. Let's just do this here. I don't know what's gonna happen, but maybe it'll be cool. What's the thing I'm looking for? Okay, what if we did? Let's try. Okay, hold on, bear with me here, everybody. EQ on this is a bit harsh. Let's try that now with the corpus. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't do it on the master, but maybe on the drum rack. You know, this is like a totally different style, but there's this fucking sick artist called Abra. I know this is probably not going to be like a lot of your guys' taste, but so Abra has this album that I really like that's called Princess. This track especially, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear this. Anyways, whatever, that's not the point. So she does this thing where it's like really old school, maybe you've heard of section, I don't, whatever. She does this thing that's like really old school, like it sounds like fucking 80s drums. Let me just, yeah, I'll just play like 10 seconds of it. Okay, so anyways, yeah, she does this thing that's sort of this like 80s sound, but there's this really specific treatment of like how she does her drums that I think is really, it's like how you, it ends up sounding how you remember the 80s and wish they sounded like, but they don't actually sound like that on the actual records, I think. I mean, I'm not an 80s expert, but and I think that if you're doing this kind of like throwback vibe for the beats for this track, that might be a really good Jeremy suggests diffusion reverbs. I'm not familiar with them, but I would definitely give that a shot. He's never been wrong before. A lot of plates. Okay. Yeah, giving it a bit of dirt and not such like clean standard sounds. Actually, one of the things that might go a long way is really like yeah, Jeremy has some sick suggestions right now. I don't know if you're going to be able to read his chat when you watch it again, but he's saying the Native Instruments replica has a diffusion mode and can sound super 80s. All really good suggestions. Kind of Phil Collins-y drum vibes. Yeah, so the way that I imagine it is like not doing actual Phil Collins style, but like doing like what you wish Phil Collins sounded like if you were to put it on now. Like the feelings and shit that you associate with the 80s, like the like shitty VHS quality stuff and tape and stuff. But like yeah, with distortion a little bit or something, with something to grit it up. But I was gonna say the one thing that might go really far, or it might not work at all, but is maybe you could try saving a separate version of the track and replacing your drum sounds with different ones, like ones that don't sound very clean and that don't sound very standard. So if you got like I would say like if you got like a hard techno or like a industrial techno type sample pack, or if you got like even if you tried to do it with like a rap sample pack, that would be actually kind of interesting. Would be it. Yeah, that's an option too. Yeah. Silent Science says release a gnarly VIP and the original. Anyways, but I think that I feel like I was a bit intense on my critique of that one, and maybe that's just because I don't fully understand the style that you were going for, or maybe that's not a style that that I'm particularly well versed in. And it seems like a lot of people were getting down with it in its original format. Okay, so I'm getting a little bit impatient now and tired and cranky and a little bit gassy. So let's listen to the Silent Science track. Oops. We downloaded, and then that'll be sort of our goodbye to the world. Cool. Thanks everybody for joining me. I promise to get a better mic for next time, or at least some sort of better situation for the miking. That's it. Thanks everybody. Thanks for sending your tracks. I really like doing this. Like I really like doing these track review things, and I hope you guys like them too. And if yeah, that's it. Okay. No, get out of here with your freedom. This is an all Canadian stream. No, I'm joking. Good. Yeah, happy birthday, America. Hey Kate. I will text you. Alright. Bye everybody.